Welcome to Card Talk, where Greg the Frequent Miler and his sidekick Nick Reyes talk a reader through which cards to keep, which cards to cancel, and how to plan their credit card future.
Card Talk starts now. I'm Greg Davis-Keene, and we're here with Nick Reyes, and today's guest is Key Perry. Welcome, Key.
Hi, Greg. Hi, Nick. Thanks for
Hi
having me
there.
on.
Thanks for being here. Love having you here. So tell us what brings you to Card Talk.
Yeah, so reason for the call today is really just to talk about all the cards I have. Am I paying too much in fees? Do I have the right cards? Really just help me out here.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about, we know you've sent us details about what cards you have, but can you tell us a little bit about how you use points and miles so we have an idea of what kind of thing you're looking for in the future?
Absolutely. So majority of the time I'm using points and miles to travel to Major League Baseball stadiums. However, the past couple of years, obviously this year especially, that's changed.
Right.
We're
you can send a cardboard cutout somewhere, probably.
Yeah. yeah, definitely. This year I was looking to change that and really start using my points and miles for my family as a whole. We had a trip planned to Hershey Park in which I plan to use the majority of my points. However, you guys know that that's not going to happen. So really looking to either reschedule that or, just keep planning trips and being sustainable for the future.
Nice.
Okay. And are you looking to use points and miles more for to save money or for luxury travel? I know it could be both, but
yeah, it's definitely a hybrid. When I'm by myself, I hate to say that, it's definitely luxury. I love business class. Qatar is actually one of my favorite airlines. But when I'm with the family, obviously, however we can get there, it's not going to matter. Everybody else.
Right. And how many people are you usually trying to book travel for?
Yeah. So right now, about 6 or 7 folks. Really just depends. So
yeah, wow.
It's definitely a larger number.
Yeah, that's a group. And are you all traveling from the same airport, from the same location? Yeah. Yeah.
Luckily, we all live in the same area in New England, so we all can travel out of the Boston airport.
Oh, nice. Very good. Okay, so that gives you a fair number of options then. Very good. All right. So then I guess maybe we should go through some of the different cards that kind of stood out to us, right?
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. So the first one that you asked us about was whether you should keep your Ritz card, which is a $450 annual fee. It has some nice perks. So let's talk about that a little bit first about, do you take advantage of those things? So it has that $50K free night that you get every year.
Yep.
Priority pass.
Yep.
And $300, is it $300?
Yeah, $300.
Travel credit each year. So
tell us, do you use any of those?
Oh yeah. So the big and main priority thing that I use is the priority pass and the free authorized users, not unauthorized. Definitely want authorized people.
Yeah.
None of us want any unauthorized users.
Yeah. So everyone in my family has one of those in the event that they're traveling and I'm not. They have the priority pass. It's fantastic. They love the restaurant. Sweet. And it's just huge. So especially with the kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it certainly is, because the Ritz card, of course, is unlimited guests, and when you're bringing people with you too. So that's nice because they can bring their families when they're traveling without you and whatnot. So that's definitely a good one. All right. So then, do you use the 50K cert?
Yep. The 50K cert's helpful. I get reimbursed from my company for travel, so I can use that cert and then get reimbursed for that, as long as I take a screenshot and things like that of how much it costs when I booked it.
Nice.
So what's a typical amount you might get reimbursed for one of those?
I don't know if I'm comfortable saying.
Okay, all right. That's fine. That's fair.
It's definitely a worthwhile amount. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Say no more.
Nice.
So you're making good use of the priority pass. You're making good use of the certificate. What about the $300 in travel credits?
Yeah, up until this year, fantastic. Super easy for me to use. This year, it's really just, do I really want to keep it? Should I get something else? But normally, no problem. I usually spend it in January, February, and it's gone.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I don't know what Greg is going to tell you, but with that story told,
I think you do know what I'm going to say.
Well, okay. I mean, you got to keep that card then, right? I mean, that
Right.
seems like you're getting tons of value. I was, before we got on the call here, I think probably Greg and I were both like, that one could go, because you'd also told us that you used to stay at Marriott's for work, but now you changed to a new company and you're staying primarily at Hilton. So you're not staying with Marriott anymore. So I figured, well, maybe you don't have Marriott status anymore. You're not making good use of the certificate, but if you're using the certificate and you're getting use out of the travel credits, usually anyway, that quickly right at the beginning of the year, and you're making good use of the priority pass, I mean, that to me is a really valuable card to have. And even if you weren't getting reimbursed from your employer, one of the things historically that's been good about the Marriott cards is that Marriott's been pretty good in the past. Hard to predict in a pandemic world, but in the past they've been really good about extending the free night certs. So it's been possible, if you didn't even get to use it throughout the year, to call near the expiration and get it extended for another year, and then get a second certificate issued at the beginning of your next year and be able to use them together for a weekend at a nice place. So I feel like those certs to me are worth quite a bit. But if you weren't using the travel credits and you weren't using the priority pass, then I'd be like, I don't know if it's worth paying $900 over the course of 2 years for that. But it sounds like you are. So I feel like that's a keeper.
Perfect.
Right. I absolutely feel like it's a keeper. And I mean, if anything, maybe you just need to be thinking creatively this year about how to use the travel credits more so than usual. Have you read through our, I know it's based on, I'm sorry, no. Have you read through the Ritz? We have a page that's, the
What works,
Ritz airline fee credits, what works, and kind of just keep track of things people have reported that have been successful. And so if you kind of read between the lines there, get some ideas.
Okay, I'll read through that. I haven't in a couple years, so definitely worthwhile to circle back to that.
Yeah, we've added some data points this year, and so they're decent ways anyway. Bottom line is that the majority of the time, whenever I've called an agent, I mean, I feel like out of the years that I've had the card, like maybe once somebody asked me another question about what it was I was trying to redeem for. So they're usually pretty flexible in terms of, whatever you redeem it for. And if you don't get the answer you want from the first agent, you can usually hang up and call again, talk to somebody else. So,
right.
Yeah,
and
pretty easy.
It sounds like some agents don't really know what the rules are very well, and they're very flexible. So someone wrote to me recently saying he called about he had a I think it was a British Airways fee, and he just asked the agent what kind of charges qualify, and she saw some charges he had applied to a Marriott hotel, and she took those off too. So,
That's awesome.
I don't think they're supposed to, but
right. But you never know. You may get that agent when you call. So it's like, I always feel like that one. Sometimes people, especially this year, I feel like some people have said, I can't use the credit, but we've often found that it's relatively easy to use. And of course, you can book travel for like next year at this point and see what works. And if it doesn't, you can cancel the trip in many cases and try something different. So, so I would keep that you're getting way too much value to drop that. Then if you weren't, we would talk about maybe downgrading that to the fee-free Marriott card, because then that would preserve the slot. So if in the future you switch jobs again and you say, okay, well now I'm traveling Marriott all the time and I want that certificate, you could upgrade back to it. But that's a keeper to me. The one that stood out to me, if I can jump to a different card, was your Amex Gold card, because I looked at your balance. You got a healthy balance of Amex membership rewards points, more than 500,000, and you said that you're using about 10% of that each year, more or less, right? So you got like a 10-year supply of membership rewards points. So I looked at it and I said, I love the gold card. You'd have to pry the Amex Gold card out of my cold dead hands, so to speak. But I don't know that it belongs in your wallet if you're not using your membership rewards points. I don't know. You said you use about 45,000 a year. How do you use those membership rewards points?
Yeah, a lot of the time using the 35% points rebate on the business platinum. So that's why it ends up being a little bit less than I thought.
I see.
After I did math.
I see. Okay. Well, yeah. So then that's an interesting situation then, because you have the business platinum and the gold, which are, I mean, you're talking about $850 in annual fees, and you're using a pretty limited number of the membership rewards points. I don't know, Greg, what do you think? Do you think that those are worth keeping, or I think
it's definitely worth considering? But let me first ask, do you think that you might start using? Well, I mean, obviously, once the pandemic issues are over, start using more membership rewards, because you talked about you like flying business class. We've written a lot about some of the sweet spot opportunities, like by transferring to ANA, for example. And now Aeroplan has a new program coming out soon that has some sweet opportunities, especially if you're going really, really far. Do you think it's likely that you would start using a lot of those points? Or?
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I was more comfortable using Chase points just because it's super easy. Travel portal, transfer them to Hyatt, no brainer, super easy.
Right.
But the Amex points, I definitely need to educate myself a little bit more. But I love business class, as I mentioned earlier. So definitely something I want to educate myself on and get going, especially with this new job. I have unlimited vacation time too. So I have no excuse not to use the Amex points.
yeah, absolutely. For sure. Well, so then here's what I say, and I'm going to see, Greg can disagree with me. But what I would probably say to do, I'm looking at it, I'm seeing that your gold card looks like it's going to renew here shortly in like another month or so, and then your business platinum in a couple of months. And so with those fees coming up, if you're not going to plan to, do that reading and booking in the short term, which kind of makes sense since you're probably not going to be booking an international trip in the very near future, I would probably consider a Blue Business Plus card in order to have a no-fee Amex card that's not going to add to 524, that will keep those points transferable to partners. So when you do learn how to use them, you can transfer them to partners and not have to worry about, losing any of your points in the interim. And you get a card that has good everyday return at 2 membership rewards points per dollar. It's got a good return on it. It'll save you $850 a year, $845 a year, until you learn how to use the points in a greater variety of ways. Now, you're going to lose the 35% rebate with the Business Platinum if you do that. So that's a downside. And so I guess you have to value out how much that's worth. I don't know. What do you think, Greg? Would you follow that strategy?
Well, I want to know first from Keith, are you using other Business Platinum features that you wouldn't want to give up?
Good point.
Honestly, I utilize the 35% points rebate more than I care to even tell you. I wish it was back to the 50%, but unfortunately not. So I utilize that quite a bit. It's so tough. Yeah. I mean, the Dell, it's nice to have that, especially with the extra $100 for the next couple months here. But I don't need to shop at Dell. I just do it just because I have the card.
Yeah.
Right. And it's all complicated a bit by the fact that this year, when it renews, they're going to give you a $200 credit.
That's a good point too.
So it's renewing for less than usual. And so between all the other credits this year, that $200 renewal rebate.
Greg's going to tell you it's a keeper, huh?
I think it's a keeper for one more year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd keep past that, but
how about the gold then, Greg? Would you keep the gold?
I would probably ditch the gold. Do you spend a lot on groceries?
I utilize it because I give everyone in my family, I put it on their Apple Pay. Yeah, I don't directly, but everyone else does. Yeah.
So you're paying for their groceries.
Oh yeah, and then I get Venmo'd or Cash App back or whatever.
Right.
My mom's cute. She writes me a check.
Well, that's that starts to make a difference. So I'm looking at him saying, okay, you got the Premier, the City Premier, which gives you 3 points per dollar at the grocery store, or you have the Gold, which gives you 4 on up to $25K per year. So if you're spending the $25K per year, you're earning an additional 25,000 points. And membership rewards points are, I think, probably universally, people would say, more valuable than City Thank You points. So you're definitely getting a little bit more value there. However, you have this large pile of points that you're not necessarily using yet. Now, if you're going to, at some point, look to fly a bunch of business and first class flights, you're going to want a big pile of points. But I don't know if there's enough incremental value there. You could get everybody the City Premier on their Apple Pay too, and still be earning a fair number of points. Now, it depends on whether or not you're going to learn to use City points, though, also because the City points are, I think, a little bit harder to use. Now, your Premier is old enough, I think, that and double checking here, you can still use points at a value of 1.25 cents a piece until next April. So at the very least, you're looking at 1.25 versus the the 1 point
versus about 1.5
5 from the business platinum.
Almost, yeah, with the business platinum. After
Mhm.
the 35% rebate.
I think I'm leaning towards getting rid of the gold.
Yeah.
After hearing that, yeah, I think I like the premier option. I think I'm liking that.
There you go.
There you go then.
All right.
Yeah.
I was kind of leaning against that, but we'll go with that. That's a win. That's a win.
I think
$50.
so. I think so because you know at the end of the day you're going to get 3x travel and dining, and you have a fair amount of membership rewards points. Now that won't stop you from getting the gold at some point in the future. If you decide that you want to be able to earn that 4x, you won't be able to get the welcome bonus on it again, but you could still sign up for the card again. And if you have a family member who's got an Amex, they could refer you and get some points for one of them, perhaps. So I think it's something you could get again in the future. That if we're looking to trim, that's a place I might trim. Like I said, Greg would. Maybe he'd hang.
I'm having a hard time with trimming that one though.
Now, go ahead.
What about the $10 per month dining credit? Does that?
I use it, but again, I do use it. I have a place that I spend 80 cents per month on with the credit, so $10.80 is what my lunch is every month. But again, you know, I'm happy to spend $10.80 if I'm going to get some lunch anyways. So it's not make or break for me on the Grubhub.
But you would eat there anyway?
I would,
no?
yeah.
Well,
I would.
So I think that effectively makes the card $120 less expensive.
Yeah.
Effectively. And so that is not a very expensive card to keep getting 4x, and the points are worth 1.55-ish, 1.54, I think.
For the next year. Yeah. So then, Greg, let me ask you this. Would you drop the City Premier then? Because you've got 4x dining and groceries on the gold, so you don't need 3x on the Premier then in those categories, right?
I would downgrade the Premier to Rewards Plus if you don't already have that one.
Okay. I don't have that. All right.
So when she does that, Greg,
the
issue there is that then her double cash, those points are not going to be transferable to partners.
That's true. Are you using your double cash much?
Oh yeah, that's like my go-to. I have the Blue Business Plus, but because I have so many Amex points, I haven't been using it.
Oh, I didn't realize you had the Blue Business Plus. I totally went right over that. You have it.
No worries. No worries. I like getting a new one every couple of years because they have that 15-month 0% APR. So I like to cycle that in and out. But yeah, no, I use the double cash all the time.
Okay.
All right, that does make it more complicated. So yeah. I mean, are you using the rewards as cash back, or are you?
They're just sitting there right now. I think I have $300 in cash back, in addition to those City Thank You points I have listed there.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So let me pivot to a different question then. You said that usually in a normal non-pandemic-y world, you travel about once a month to go to a Major League Baseball park, right? So how do you usually fly? Like, do you usually fly? I know you fly United for work. Do you usually fly United for that, or American or Southwest? How do you normally do it?
Yeah, so I was flying American. I was trying to use up all those miles. I don't really love American. They're very not reliable from Boston.
Just kidding.
Yeah. So I was really trying to use those up. In addition to that, from the Citibank National card, Crystal card, I had $1,000+ in airline gift card. So I was just killing those, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. So then.
I know this is tricky. That's my dilemma.
It is. You have a really interesting situation because you do have healthy balances in a number of different programs. So you've got some decent American miles, decent number of United miles, decent number of membership rewards, and Chase Ultimate rewards. So I think I'd like to beef up your Ultimate rewards a little bit more because you use those every year, it looks like. And I know you're saying that you use them through the portal. Typically, it sounds like, or transfers to Hyatt, though, of course, right now you don't have one of the premium cards to transfer to Hyatt. So I guess I'm going to agree with Greg. I would downgrade the City Premier because I think it's more of a priority for you to get a Chase card that will enable you to be able to transfer to Hyatt and to get better value out of your Chase points.
You can always transfer or convert back to the Premier when you need
down
to.
the road when you need to. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So we're on the same page. We actually decided to downgrade the Premier, keep the gold, use that for your grocery and restaurants, and get it on everybody's Apple Pay. I'm gonna have to get everybody in my family on Apple Pay.
Oh yeah, worthwhile.
Now, all this is assuming your family's not grocery shopping in Canada. Is that true?
That's true.
I mean, not, obviously
Everyone
right now
in the
they're
US.
not, but
Right now,
but in
US
general.
only.
Okay, all right. And I just said that because the gold card is limited to U.S.
Grocery stores and restaurants. Yep.
Whereas Premier is not. Okay.
Correct.
All right. So we we went a totally different direction from where we were headed.
We just totally pivoted. That's kind of crazy.
So instead of getting rid of like $700 or so of fees, we got rid of
95. Yeah. Not the direction we were expecting to go on that one, but okay. So, all right. So let's continue then. And I'm still going to try and save you some money here, Keith. So that Amex Delta Platinum card, you have the $250 annual fee on that. Key benefit on that card is the annual companion certificate. Do you use that?
Yep. I still have family in Michigan, so I'll either gift it to my parents or fly round trip with them to Michigan to visit family and stuff like that.
Does it ever lapse? Like, because sometimes you go to like try to book a flight and you realize there's none of the fares that that are required for that are available, right?
Yeah, leave it to Amex to have all those UTZ fare codes that I have to look through. But yeah, no, sometimes only one time I found that to be an issue. All the other times, no issues there. So
Okay.
I like it.
All right. Okay.
I'm happy to get rid of it though. I still have airline credit from the Ritz. I still have it from the business platinum that I'm keeping. So I'm still okay, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so when you use it, is the free ticket usually more than $250?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We're usually looking last minute for that. My parents are very last minute. We're working on it for reward tickets. We're working on it. But yeah, very last minute. So yeah, always comes in clutch.
Okay.
Sounds like you're getting good value from it. So why did you say you're willing to get rid of it if you're getting such good value?
So I have a lot of Delta points. And then I think Amex just got rid of the excise tax or whatever they were charging the transfer. So I'd be happy to transfer to Virgin or transfer to Delta and just use up the fee incidentals, 560 or whatever it is, on the other cards.
Yeah, I mean, that was my thought when you were talking about booking last minute is that's usually the times when I want to use miles over cash. Obviously you could potentially get great value out of that certificate in that situation, but if you can find award availability, that's where your transferable points can become really valuable in terms of getting you a flight that doesn't cost a lot of points. And I don't know, I look at it and I say, well, so we got $13.59 or so in American Airlines gift cards, right? I mean, you got a couple hundred in Southwest, you've got Delta, and you got in airline credits, another $700 or $800 worth of airline credits to use, right? 7 and change. In airline credits, I don't know. I look at that and I feel like that's one I could shop, but Greg's going to tell you no because you're getting good value out of it, right, Greg?
Well, so here's my problem with the plan of using award tickets is I happen to know from experience that Delta does not release last minute, like saver level awards very often. And so if you're often booking last minute, you're not going to be able to book these at all with Virgin Atlantic or Air France or any of Delta's partners. So if it's Delta we're talking about, which is the hub out of Michigan, that could be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, so if flying direct and on Delta is a priority, then Greg's making a good point there. If that's not a big priority to you, if you don't mind connecting and flying somebody else, you've got a fair number of transferable points. I mean, so you got United, and you have a decent number of United and American miles. I feel like she's got some other options too to find award availability, right? I mean, and Southwest points. So Southwest isn't going to be great last minute. You'd have to be planning in advance there, but you got Avios, you got American miles, and you got a lot of Amex and Chase points all together. So I guess it depends on what the award availability situation is. If you're looking at travel at holiday periods, school holidays, and that kind of thing, then having that companion certificate is probably going to be really important and useful for you. If your last minute trips are midweek and October usually, then maybe you'd be able to find award availability on somebody else. So I'm not sure. I guess I'm on the fence there.
Okay, maybe pile.
What'd you say?
Maybe
I'll put that in the maybe pile.
Maybe pile, yeah, definitely. That's the thing we've been most definite on so far today. Is that
Is a lot of
that's a
maybes.
maybe.
A lot of maybes, yeah. Well, so you do have a lot of cards with no annual fees. So a lot of these cards that have no annual fee, there's probably no hurry to do anything with. So I would probably leave all of those alone. So I'm focusing on the ones that have an annual fee. So the other one that sticks out to me, but this one is not going to charge you a fee for a while, is that TD Visa that was the Airline Visa, but then it got converted, right?
Mhm.
And the new benefits on the TD Visa, do you know what they are? Do you know what kind of bonus categories it has?
Not a single clue. I saw the paperwork and just was like, I'm never using that.
Yeah, that was my
Drop it.
inclination. So when the $95 fee gets charged on that, I figured that was probably an easy one to drop. But that you won't get charged that fee until next spring. So no hurry to do anything with that card. But I would just make like a note in your phone, a reminder in your phone to call and cancel that. I don't know about TD, so different banks have different rules in terms of how long after the fee is charged you can get it back if you cancel. So I know, for example, with Citi, it's like 60 days after the fee is charged. And with Amex, I think it's at least 30. I can't remember all. I don't have them all memorized, but everybody's got their own rules. And I think Capital One is one where once they've charged it, that's it. They typically won't. You got to call before they charge it. So there's different rules for different banks. I don't know what it is for TD. And you probably have no desire to keep that card. So I would set a reminder a few weeks before the date that you're expecting it to get charged to call and cancel that.
Or just cancel it now if you're not going to use it at all.
Yeah.
Also, just get it.
Also
why not just get it done?
There you go.
All right. Another one going out. Get out of there.
So what do we need to get here? What do we need to add, Greg? What are we missing that we need to?
Well, I mean, one of key questions was whether she should wait to get under 524, which I think you said that would happen in February of next year.
That's
if we're
correct.
applying for more cards, or just keep rolling with them. Of course, you can still get things like Amex business cards and business cards that don't add to it, as you know. I think there's two arguments in favor of waiting, which would be one would be there's not a lot of exciting stuff going on right now with credit card offers. That's not to say that there won't be between now and February, but that's one thing. The other is you did say, or it does look like building up your Chase points would be a useful thing. So if there are cards you could qualify for on the Chase side and get more ultimate rewards, or maybe even Hyatt points, for example, if you're interested in the Hyatt card, those could be really good reasons to wait to get under. Because I mean, as you probably know, if you once you're under, and if the economy's better, maybe you could qualify for like the 100K Inc. Business Preferred card as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe also the Hyatt card that's usually about 50K. What do you think, Nick?
Well, yeah. So I think I'm going to qualify what Greg said a little bit. And he said there's not a lot exciting going on in terms of credit cards right now, in terms of having a compelling need to apply for something new right now. I'm going to say that's definitely true for someone who is over 524. I think if you're under 524, some of the Chase offers lately, there have been some decent Chase offers, but that's not your situation. So in your situation, right. Yeah, I totally agree with Greg that you might be able to look at a couple of business cards. You're looking to spend down your American Airlines miles. So if that's the case, then I don't think that the Citi Business or Aviator business cards probably make a lot of sense for you. They're low-hanging fruit, but they don't really fit your situation at all. So then you're looking at Amex business cards, and you have a number of the Amex business cards that I would ordinarily be interested in. You've already got the Business Platinum. You've got the Business Green. You've got the Blue Business Plus now, I realize. So I think the only one that I'm not seeing is like a Business Gold card, and I don't necessarily know that it's worth investing more in annual fees and in an Amex business card at this point. So I would probably wait, because a few things. First of all, you got family that are willing to play along and help you meet the spend. So if you could get approved for that Inc. Business Preferred card when February comes around, then with multiple people spending at the 15K spending requirement, you might be able to hit that easier than other people in terms of being able to trigger that 100,000 point bonus. So that would be particularly interesting to me. The other thing that you can consider at that point is, I think, I know you said that you PC'd your Chase Sapphire Preferred. Do you know, did you open the Sapphire Preferred in 2018, or did you? Yes, that's the one you opened.
Yeah.
So you're locked out of a Sapphire bonus for a while. So the other thing to consider, so if you can get the Ink Business Preferred, A, that gives you 100,000 points. B, it gives you the ability to redeem your Chase points at a value of 1.25 cents each, which is what you used to have with the Sapphire Preferred. So my key question, though, is then, should she be looking to do that? Or if she can't get the Ink Business Preferred, then, Greg, should she upgrade one of her other cards here to, for example, the Sapphire Reserve? She's got a Freedom card. Should she upgrade that to the Sapphire Reserve and consider applying for another Freedom card or something like that? What would be your strategy? Because, I mean, she redeems a lot of points to the Chase portal, so 1.5 cents each could be pretty valuable. I think you said you generally redeem about 130,000 a year in terms of Chase points. So at 1.25 cents each, that's what, like $1,700 in value. 1.5, it's like 19, right? So 2,000 about. So you're getting a few $100s more in value a year with the Sapphire Reserve redeeming through the portal. What do you think, Greg?
Great question. So let me back up a little and ask how much the other side, the other advantage of Sapphire Reserve is the travel and dining 3X. What are you using today for those categories?
Right now I'm using the Gold card, Amex Gold.
Okay, certainly for dining. What about travel? Is that also for travel?
Travel, I mostly use the Ritz. Most of my travel is airline,
Okay.
so I use it just for the protection.
Right. Okay. So you would earn more valuable rewards with the Sapphire Reserve, but you'd get the same travel protections
Correct.
as the Ritz because they happen to be the same. Okay. In that case, unless that's a lot of money that you're spending through travel that way, it's probably, that alone probably isn't a good reason maybe to upgrade to the Sapphire Reserve. I think I would go with the Ink Business Preferred direction. So upgrading one of her no fee ink cards to the Business Preferred
That's
in order to get transferability.
Yeah, if the economy doesn't improve and you can't get approved for the Ink Business Preferred on its own, or if there's just you're not going to be able to meet the bonus or whatever, then maybe, yeah, because you have 2 Ink Business Unlimited cards, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I have 3.
3. Okay, I missed the 3rd one there. Yeah. So I mean, Ink Business Unlimited is the 1.5 points per dollar. There's not really much advantage in having 3 of those. So if you can get approved for the Ink Business Preferred, I think that's a good angle to go after. If you can't, then I would definitely upgrade one of those Ink Business Unlimiteds to an Ink Business Preferred.
Yeah. And of course, if you need Hyatt points before then, you could always upgrade temporarily and then downgrade before applying for the same card. Or you could temporarily upgrade your Freedom to the Sapphire Preferred and do the transfers.
Now, let me back up, because Greg was saying that he thinks that direction makes more sense than the Sapphire Reserve. And I can understand his argument. It depends somewhat, because one thing that kind of sent my radar up was you said that you can book your work travel and get reimbursed for it. So I don't know how much travel you're booking for work. Now, obviously, you have the Hilton Aspire card, so probably any of your paid Hilton stays, I assume, are probably going on that card, and that probably makes sense. So I'd leave that alone.
For sure.
But if you're booking flights, now I think you said every 2 or 3 months, sometimes international. I don't know how much you're spending on travel, and if you're spending enough, there becomes a threshold where the Sapphire Reserve might become worthwhile. But that amount is going to be, in the without doing the math, I would say it's got to be probably north of 10 grand, right, Greg, before it becomes.
That sounds reasonable. I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like when I did analysis way back when, before they increased the annual fee on the Sapphire Reserve, I think it was like around 7,000 was the threshold where when you move from the Sapphire Preferred to the Reserve. That you were doing better with the Reserve, but Don't quote
don't
me
quote you on that. Yeah. I'll have to edit a graphic in for that. Whatever it is.
with quotes.
Right. So it depends on how much travel you're getting reimbursed. If you're getting reimbursed a lot of travel, if you're flying international business class for work and they're reimbursing you for it and that kind of thing, well, then maybe you would want the Sapphire Reserve because you'll get the same travel protections and earn a nice sum of points. But otherwise, all right, I can agree with Greg that the Inc. Business Preferred could be a good move. So that would be one that I would hold off for. And so I do think that it's worth waiting until February to apply for new cards, especially because I feel like you've got pretty good coverage here in terms of, you've got decent balances. I always want more points than what I have. So, I can certainly understand that you probably always want more than what you've got, but I don't think that there's an immediate need to top off any specific currency that you have with a new application. And I think getting under 524 at this point, you got 6 months to go at a time when banks are kind of tightening up because of the pandemic anyway. If there was ever a time to lay low, now is not a particularly hurtful time to lay low since you probably don't need the points in a pressing way anyway. Now let's talk about these remaining airline credits because you've got a bunch of remaining airline credits. Wait, Greg, was there something more you were going to say on the ultimate reward?
Oh, no, let's go on.
Okay.
That's good.
So you got a whole bunch of remaining airline credits. Yeah, I mean, you've got the Business Platinum, you got the Aspire, you got a little bit on the Gold, you have this PenFed Pathfinder card, the Ritz Card, lots of airline credits to use this year. Do you have any plans or any thoughts in mind as to what you're going to do, how you're going to do it in order to get the value out of those before,
Oh, I was doing some reading on the website. Appreciate it. You guys let me know about the Southwest ability to convert to points after you get the travel vouchers. So I was thinking of giving Amex a call. They usually allow me to switch my airline once or twice a year, hopefully. So I was thinking of just switching them all to Southwest and going that route, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you use Southwest points? Would that be useful to you to have all those points?
Oh yeah. If I have them, I'll use them. That's for sure.
Okay, great. Then yeah. Then you've got to jump on that right away, though, right? Because those, I think it has to be done before
September 7th. Yeah, you have to create those travel funds before September 7th, so that they'll have the expiration date of September 7th, 2022, and then you have until December to actually make the conversion to points. But you want to make sure that you book and cancel whatever stuff you're going to book and cancel before September 7th. So yeah, you really got to get on that relatively quickly in terms of changing your airlines, your preferred airlines to Southwest, and then going ahead and taking advantage of being able to use that. So that would be my strategy. Now, are you interested in a Southwest Companion Pass? Would that help you at all?
Not right now. For the most of my travel, it's solo. So not something that's pressing. That's
what I was wondering.
I think the Hyatt is probably my best bet after the Inc. Business Preferred.
Sounds good. I wasn't sure. So you're talking about flying to baseball parks. So I wasn't sure whether that would be something that would be useful for you. And if it's not, easy enough. So I think then that, I would still use those because Southwest could be useful. Having the points could be useful in terms of, if you're planning a monthly trip to baseball park or something like that, it may come in handy for you. But then, we don't need to worry about anything else in terms of applying there. So, okay, that's pretty good. Now, is there anything else, Greg, that you would add? What do you feel like she's missing?
Well, what I would add as a question which is, what is your favorite baseball park?
Yeah. So I think I mentioned in the beginning, I live in Boston, outside of Boston.
I won't hold that against you.
I am not a Red Sox fan.
Okay, good.
I am a diehard Yankees fan.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to hear it.
Absolutely love the Yankees. So just by default, I have to go Yankees. Second to that, I like Kansas City. Kansas City's fantastic. The seats are cheap. You're sitting practically on the field. It's just great. You go to Fenway in Boston, you spend $700 parking before you even get into the game.
Right.
You go there, you can you'd be in the suite on the field or something like that.
Right.
Nice.
Cool. Good to know. So, So getting back to card talk, are there any things you're hoping to get out of this that we haven't touched on yet?
No, you guys, thank you. I first of all, I appreciate all of this. This is very helpful. I'm glad that I'm not just having the dilemma. I see that you guys are struggling with this too, but I hope that it helps, other people as well. Definitely help me out.
Cool.
The only question I have is circling back to the Ritz. Is that a card I should use at all for any category or just use it for the certs and the priority pass?
Go ahead.
I don't use mine for anything except for if I didn't have the Sapphire Reserve, I would use it like you to book travel so that I would have the protections, the travel protections.
Okay.
And then if you are staying at Marriott hotels and paying for anything, it's not a bad card to use.
Mm-hmm.
It's still debatable whether it's the best one in your wallet, but you know, I wouldn't feel bad about using it because I think you get 6X. I forget what it is. 6X.
Yep. Marriott properties. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am in that boat where I don't have a Sapphire Reserve in my name. My wife's got it. So sometimes if I'm booking travel and it's just going to be me, and I know she's not going to want to have to deal with making the claim if I get delayed or whatever else, then I'll use my Ritz card, especially if I'm booking an award ticket and it's like $5 and change in taxes. I'm not too concerned with the fact that I could have earned 3 Ultimate Rewards points rather than the 4 Marriott points or whatever in that kind of scenario, because I want the travel protection. So I do use it for the travel protections like you do. The other thing that I use it for sometimes is that it has return protection. So if I'm buying something and I feel like it's questionable as to whether I'm going to want to keep it or not, and I think that whatever merchant it is I'm buying it from is not going to easily accept a return, then I do put some purchases on that card. Now, you are sacrificing better rewards, so it depends on how expensive those purchases are. But sometimes if I'm buying like a gift or something and I feel like I might change my mind and it's like a $50 gift, so it's not a huge consequential number of points or $100, something like that, then maybe I'll put it on the Ritz card because I'm like, oh well, I could return it. If they won't take it back, then I can make a claim anyway. And I haven't had to use it yet, but that's one other instance when I use it, but not for the category bonuses, really. No, I mean, it's got restaurants, but you've got 4X membership rewards points on restaurants, and you don't have a ton of Marriott points left at this point. And it sounded like you wanted to get rid of the Marriott points. You weren't going to be using them all that much. So if that's the case, then yeah, I don't think I would be using that over using your MX Gold on restaurants or any of the other bonus categories. Because again, it just doesn't earn enough Marriott points to make a difference, especially if you don't have a balance to work with, really.
Right. So I'm gonna write up a summary of this, and in that I'm gonna do some math about the Sapphire Reserve to try to help answer that question, whether that's something that you should be thinking of, because then you'd be able to stop earning Marriott points altogether and still get the those rewards. And yet, despite all that, I still think the Ritz card's a keeper, even if you're not using it for any spend whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a keeper for the benefits, for sure. Yeah. And you mentioned the priority pass and restaurants and the ability to use that for restaurants with unlimited guests. If you are going to any of those places that have the restaurants, I mean, that card easily pays for itself if you're using that. I keep the card for the 50K cert and the $300 incidental credits. I don't even use the priority pass all that much. I use it once or twice a year, maybe. And I'm happy when I get those uses out of it. If you're making a bunch of uses out of that, yeah, I mean, I'd keep that as long as they'll let you have it.
For sure. Okay. Well, it was great talking to you, Katie.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Meet you both, and look forward to continue reading the blog. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Great
you.
to have you here.
Bye now.